Welcome back to the Client Education Series as we're going to be representing you and helping your family. In the last video, I closed with make sure your family is controlling stress, and we know what that is. And what that is we're going to send whoever contacts us a free ebook you can download in your phone. Why? That is the very beginning of coping with stress during criminal prosecution, and we expect you and your family members to use coping with stress during criminal prosecution. If your family doesn't use it, then they're going to get in your ear, they're going to create doubt. Prosecutor loves it. They want us arguing and fighting and disagreeing and you having doubts. I mean, that makes their job easy. Makes it easy to convict somebody. If you have dissension on the defense team, especially between attorney and client. I mean, that's just a prosecutor's gift. So I want to reemphasize coping with stress during criminal prosecution. I'd rather drive you crazy with it than have you blow it off because, I've seen people blow their lives up because they don't control stress. We don't want that happening to you or your family. However, now we're talking about court attendance, and what does that have to do with controlling stress? If you walk into court emotionally on a scale of 1 to 10 as a 1, you're gone. When I go to court, I expect that I'm a technical 10. After all, I am board certified as a specialist. And secondly, I have to be an emotional 10. For years, I used to tell people if my beloved dog Stumpy died, I would not be able to attend court because I may be a technical 10, but I'd be an emotional 1. And the same is true if you have a family member die or some thing happen that affects your mood. Well, sure enough, last year, my dog actually died. And I actually had to follow through and take that day off. Not because I couldn't accomplish things. It's because my standard is I am a 10 emotionally when I am handling legal matters. That's critical. Think about it. When you're working, if you're having one of those days where you could whip hell with a water gun, isn't that a better day? Don't you perform better than those days when hell could flick an ash in your general direction? It misses by 4,000 miles, and yet you're just not there mentally. It's important that you're there mentally. So when it comes to court, coping with stress is critical. Dress instructions. Follow the dress instructions for court. And if your question is, can I substitute this for that? Can I wear this color instead of that because I don't want to spend the money, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, if you want to go to more jail and spend more time in prison than you normally would be at risk for, go right ahead. Why? Because people have ignored my advice on that for years. Women, I know you want to wear a pantsuit. Let me help you. Wear a navy dress just like on dress instructions for court. I don't care what part of Florida you're in. You cannot go wrong with a navy dress. Oh, it's the wrong time of year. No, we are using psychology to help you. And it's so subtle and it's so critical. I mean, haven't you met somebody you instantly like or somebody you instantly don't like and you don't know why? That's because you're being triggered by different cues from your 5 senses. Now, we hope your nose isn't involved and probably your tongue isn't involved, but your eyes are almost certainly involved. And when you get a chance to make an impression with a prosecutor deciding on a plea offer, with a judge deciding a legal ruling or a sentence, or especially in front of a jury, that is critical. So dress instructions for court, consider them etched in stone. And I don't care if you spend $5,000 at Saks Fifth Avenue in New York City or $50 at a local thrift store. Because let's face it, it's the South. People go through clothing pretty quickly as they're getting bigger, and you can find something that will fit you very inexpensively, and regardless of what you pay, it'll be the best investment you've made in a long time with your clothing, because it does affect how people perceive you. What's wrong with what I'm wearing for court right now? Yeah, I know I don't have a jacket on. What else? I have a vest on. Well, that's not fatal, because if you want to have authority, quite often you put a vest with a jacket. What's wrong is that if I'm a defendant I have a black vest. Black is the jail or prison color. Now I can wear it on a video chatting with you and coaching you, but this is not something I would wear to court. You're not going to see me go into court with my shirt sleeves and a vest. You're also not going to see me in a black suit. Now, since I'm the lawyer, you'll see me in different colors other than navy because I'm the lawyer. There are reasons for that. For example, if I know a particular judge likes a certain color of tie, amazingly, I'm wearing that color tie or one similar. If I know a judge has a particular preference for, say, light gray suits, amazingly, I'm wearing a light gray suit. And if that judge likes charcoal gray, guess what I'm wearing? Generally, it's going to be a navy suit with a red, white, and blue tie. Very patriotic. Think about the area of Florida we're in. That fits. So your dress instructions for court must be followed exactly. Now, let's take a look at some other things as it relates to going to court. Number one, get there early. And don't be surprised if one of us on the legal team is not there when court starts. And you're going, what? I thought the lawyers would be there early and talk to me and give me information. We might not have information. Nothing may have changed. Let me tell you what actually happens. In the First Judicial Circuit alone, you have Pensacola, there's a courthouse. You have Milton, there's a courthouse. Now there's a South County annex. It's not really used for criminal proceedings very often. You also have over in Okaloosa, 2 courthouses, Crestview and the new courthouse in Fort Walton Beach. And in Walton County, in Defuniak Springs, you have a 5th one. So you have 5 different courts. Now here's what happens to lawyers. You have court in Defuniak Springs and Fort Walton Beach at the same exact time. Now, most of the judges are really good about this, and I can't even think of one who isn't. So here is the procedure that we use. We call ahead and we say, Judge B, we have court in Judge A's court at the same time. We're speaking to the judicial assistant like you saw me speaking initially earlier during the actual court appearance in about 4 videos ago. Now, we contact the JA, judicial assistant, and we let them know. The judge then has it noted on their written copy of what's called a docket. That's just simply a fancy way of saying list of cases for the upcoming court date on a docket cycle, a cycle of a group of cases. And then that way, for example, one of us might go to Defuniak Springs first because Judge Wells, although many don't like how he sentences, have other criticisms, etc. You know, if you're a judge, you're going to be criticized. That's just how it is. He always starts court and he says, if you are a private lawyer and you have a routine proceeding such as a first-time continuance that there's not going to be an objection to, and you have court in another jurisdiction, please line up and I'll take you first. What an act of courtesy, because he was in private practice. He did criminal law, he did civil law, he gets it. Because what happens is we have to be in his court, the next court, the next court, all at the same time on the same day. Now, why do they calendar it like this? I have no idea. They calendar it as best they can. So the judges will make allowances for us, and we'll let you know if we're going to be running behind. And that's entirely normal. The judges expect it because they know every time that they set a calendar status, a pretrial, a docket day, that lawyers are going to have court on the same exact day at the same time in front of a different judge 20 to 50 miles away. I mean, that's just how the legal system operates and runs. So we're letting you know about that up front early in the educational process so that you're not surprised and upset. Because we don't want you going through coping with stress during criminal prosecution just to end up sitting in a courtroom waiting for legal counsel frustrated. So you need to know about that up front. Another thing about court, get there early because you're going to go through a security line. Now, for the love of God, please don't bring a gun, a knife, a pocket knife, or anything like that, because I go through security on a regular basis, and you know what I see? I'm in this security line, and somebody in front of me or behind me just after I get through is going to walk through the security line with nail clippers, little Swiss Army knives, sometimes a much larger pocket knife, perhaps it's a mini mace on a key ring. You can't bring those things. So don't bring anything that can flag security. And when you go through security, you want to get there early so you're not backed up at the back of the line standing forever, because sometimes at the different courthouses, that line snakes outside of the building, there's no cover, and you don't want to get rained on. Yes, that has actually happened. I've seen court dates where people are coming into court and half the people in the courtroom are drenched because they didn't bring an umbrella. So keep the weather in mind, keep security in mind, and get there early for that. Now, another thing, when you go to court, if you're standing in front of the judge for any particular reason with your lawyer present, don't be sticking your hands in your pockets. Now, this is normal. People get nervous. Men do this more than women, primarily because of what they're wearing. And people tend to want to stick their hands in their pockets when they're a little bit nervous in front of the judge. Don't do that. Court security doesn't like it. You want to stand there with your hands down to your side with good posture. You don't speak unless you're spoken to. And if you are spoken to by the judge, it's yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, or no, sir, no, ma'am. You want to be polite. You don't want your voice like this. You don't want your voice like this. You want your voice normal. You want a normal tone speaking voice that the judge can hear and that the judge does not have to ask you to repeat it, because a record of the proceedings is being kept. Now, we've covered the different types of multi-court, security, a number of different things. One final thing about court. Your lawyer may have to go to another court appearance immediately afterwards, so there may be a limited amount of time. However, generally speaking, if there's anything we need to inform you about or you have questions, we'll have a few minutes to speak with you. And if we don't have court in another jurisdiction on the same day, we'll have longer. And again, if you have questions, just let us know beforehand.